although I was as close as I ever want to come to going bankrupt, I didn't file. I didn't actually formally file. I paid off all the creditors with the company and went through all that. It was horrible. Horrible. Horrible time of my life. Had to sell my house. Had to go sell all the cars. Had to do all that stuff. I mean, by the way, let me just tell you something. This is when you know you're broke. Okay? If you're taking notes, you can tell this is the benchmark. When you can literally fit everything you own into the back of a Ford Explorer pickup truck, I mean everything. It goes in that little bed, you know, the smallest truck bed made on the planet. Everything I own fit in it, including my dog, to move out of my apartment, to move out of my house, and move into my girlfriend's apartment. That's when you know you've officially done it. Okay? And by the way, it was one trip. It wasn't 2 or 3 trips. It was one trip. That's when I knew. I tell the story. I had this dog. I had this little junkyard dog that I got at the pound when I was, 20 years old. And this dog is the ugliest dog you've ever seen. And totally put together by parts. Black and white, black leg, ear. This one goes down, this one goes up, the whole thing. And I bought this little dog from the pound, and he was basically with me for the whole ride, right? He went from the junkyard, basically getting ready to be put down at the pound, to within a few years, he's laying out back, hanging out on the back sun deck in South Florida next to the pool. This is this dog's life. And I will never forget this, that when we moved in with my girlfriend, we moved in her 800 square foot apartment. And get everything, and I get him out of the truck, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Felix, go. My wife now, my girlfriend at the time, she opens that door, the dog walks in, and I'm walking behind him, I got a handful of stuff, and he's walking in, and God is my witness that this dog is going to be one of these. Really? Seriously? This is what just happened? What happened to the deck? We're moving into an apartment, and I'm looking at him like, you too? Really? I got everybody hitting me. Everybody's coming at me hard right now. And I'm not going to lie to you. I sat around for a couple months and absolutely felt sorry for myself. Licked my wounds. It was everybody's fault but mine. Right? And finally, my wife and my friends, they encouraged me to go to a real estate event just like this in West Palm Beach. And I went. The guy got up on stage and was talking about wholesaling. How I didn't need any cash, didn't need any credit, which obviously perfect, considering I had zero. And, you guys have ever had that feeling? How many of you have ever been, this is the very first event you've ever been to. So everybody else has been to more than one, right? So you know that feeling when the guy's up there, and he's talking about what his system does and everything else, and you're sitting there and you're like, God, please, let whatever he's selling, just let it work the way he talks about it. I know what that feels like. Exactly what that feels like. And I took that walk. I went back there and I did it. Here's the big difference. I didn't know at the time, but I now know it. None of it matters if you don't actually do something. You can buy all the education, all the tapes, books, this, everything you want. If you don't apply it, none of it matters. Luckily, I was at a place where I didn't have much of a choice. I had to apply it because I was broke. And so I started going. Started doing it in January 2003. I did my very first deal, $8,200. And I can tell you, I remember it like it was yesterday. The greatest $8,200 I've ever made in my life. When I talk about it to this day, I start shaking because it was awesome. I knew I had done it. I knew I did it. I went out, I found the deal, I flipped the deal, I did it myself. And that's power. Because then you know you're on your way. So then from there, we started trying to build a business around it. I can tell you that in the market I was in, it was very difficult to get sellers, motivated sellers to call me. Because no different than I told you, my experience was I just stick a sign in the yard. Well, that was the experience of most sellers. So why do they need to sell a property to me? I figured out real quick that there was a way to do that, and that was through marketing. Because there's never a shortage of crisis. Whether you're in a buyer's market or a seller's market, somebody needs to sell today, yesterday. Whether it's death, divorce, foreclosure, frustrated landlords, inherited properties, whatever the case may be, there are plenty of people that are highly, highly motivated. They want to get out from underneath the house right now. Loss of job, that's a huge motivator right now. Anyway, we figured out real quick that there was a way to do that. By 2005, I started a company called 1-800-SELL-NOW. When I started that company, our business took off. Bless you. Our business took off. My first 18 months, I flipped 91 houses and made $1 million. So anybody tells you this business isn't for real? Anybody, any naysayers you have in your life right now that are looking over your shoulder? Husband, wife, friend, family, whatever, saying it can't be done? Let me tell you something. I'm standing here telling you it absolutely can. I'm a testament to what this business can do if you will just go do it. Half this battle, ladies and gentlemen, is taking action. That's it. You're never going to know enough information. For those of you that think you're somehow going to you're going to come to enough of these meetings, and over the course of the next year, you're finally going to learn enough information when you go and do something. Here's your wake-up call. There is no graduation. You don't get a diploma. What happens is you take this knowledge and you go do something out there. Quick, fast, before this market gets away from you. And that will separate you from everybody else all day long. Take it from somebody that knows. I can tell you that I built a complete business on it. The only problem with the business that I had built was that I built a job, like I told you earlier. I put 91 houses, but the big word there is I did it. I didn't own a business. I owned a job. And I decided that I was not going to do that anymore. I had just had a little girl, and I was like, not this time around. My first son, he was born when I was 23 years old, so he was basically, when he was being raised, was when I was on my upswing. And I spent very, very little time raising my own son. Right? And I regret it. I wasn't going to make that mistake twice. The only way I was going to fix that is making sure that I built a business. Here's another rule for you that you can live by. Your number one job in your real estate business, or in any business you own, ladies and gentlemen, if you want it to be a business, the number one thing you should be doing every single day, if all possible, fire yourself as often as you can. As long as you're involved, you have a job. The second that you can walk away from it, you put processes in place, then you start having a business. And that's what we're here to talk about. So, now, 1-800-SELL-NOW, now it's in 700 markets around the country. I mean, again, it's all about focusing on building a business versus a job. Memphis Invest, we talk about that. It's 221 properties in 2009, 211 in 2010, 301 in 2011. 1,200 properties since 2005. Now we manage over 1,200 properties. I'd say we probably got this dialed in. Would you not agree? We have built not one, not two, but 5 multi-million-dollar real estate businesses since 2005. This can absolutely happen for you. A bunch of rednecks from Memphis, Tennessee, never went to college, didn't know the first thing about real estate when we got involved. One thing we do know is how to build a business. And that's, again, what we're going to share with you. I can tell you that will absolutely change you if you'll think about it. Here's the old school. This is the way.